think a little reckless. They're just like someone who's of adolescence almost, and they're just like powerful, and they have a lot of power, right? With that magician, inspired by some people, but it looks like inspired by maybe like warlocks and stuff like that. This person, not necessarily. What I'm trying to say is like, you know, I know some people really, really believe that there are people doing like dark magic. Of course, it has to be that if you're not with the person you love. But really, I make a lot of references to vampire movies and stuff like that. So I love it. So please just take this the only way that I'm saying it and just kind of put it in your own perspective. That there's someone here that doesn't want this to happen, and unfortunately, they will get labeled the Dark Lord. They will, because it's like you're blocking a light. You're blocking a love here. Okay. You are, and you're making people suffer, and you're making people have to bite down and be who they're not, and you know what I'm saying, be who they are but not reach their full potential. Okay, I really knew that this was coming. That's why it's so quick. I mean, I feel like, you know, the divine masculine is human too, and I just honestly feel like you have to understand where you are in your journey so that you're not just wasteful wandering and walking around and just doing unnecessary work. You know what I mean? If you want like 5 minutes of fame, you can get that elsewhere. You know, this journey is not to be played with. It can cause a lot of trauma, a lot of mental illness. It can cause a lot for you, and I think we're all aware of that. And I think it looks like it's just a lot's piling up here. It looks like the divine feminine is a very big influence on the divine masculine's life, and I don't believe she's aware of that. I don't believe, like, if there was anyone else here, they don't even affect the main spread. I'm telling you, I almost forgot about, you know. Yeah, I just feel like you have a very, very significant role in this person's life, and I don't believe you're very much aware of that. But right now on my board, these two cards are next to each other, and I love that. And for you, for the divine masculine, the judgment here is the choice he is going to make in love to being with the person that he's in love with, the divine feminine. But it looks like he's going to have to keep working and going back to the drawing board, because obviously he lacked something, and in the divine feminine's reading, there was a lot there that was lacking, and a lot of insecurities, and just a lot of insecurities brewing. And it looks like right now that even though he may be trying to grow something on Mars, it sprouts, it grows. So it's like, what more faith can you have than that? And I really want to give it to the divine masculine for having multiple families and multiple responsibilities at hand, and still staying focused on things that a lot of people tend to ignore and override, whereas the heart is concerned. So, you know, these two are the only contradicting cards to me right now in the midst of this work. But, you know, it leads him somewhere, and maybe that could have been the problem all along, was that the star card here, you know, that wow, I don't know what just happened, you know. So maybe that could have been the problem. But I feel, let me go ahead and get a card for this Three of Cups for the divine masculine. Spirit, why is the Three of Cups here? What do you want us to know about that Three of Cups? I feel like you have a major effect on him. I think he's doing a lot of things in life with love. Really. It's like, it's not his era of focus. It's not his area. Like, he wouldn't know when to bring it out and not be so corny or mushy-gushy. But it feels like whenever he does apply it, it works. You know, the Death card, he's had a rebirth and a process. It could be due to a Scorpio, Cancer, Pisces, if you are or they are. But it's really working in their favor to bring that out in things that they do, because they're getting to success. Okay, they're getting somewhere. They're getting somewhere. You know what I'm saying? Tell me about this Three of Cups for the divine masculine. What is it in reference to? What do we need to know about this Three of Cups? Okay, the King of Cups. I think he wants to settle down. I think he wants to give to one person. All right, I believe so. Clarifying that Page of Wands, you know, I think he just wants to be able to give to one person. There's that that I was just describing about the divine feminine here. Divine masculine doesn't know what he wants to do. He's got a lot to juggle right now. He's got a lot of feelings and emotions going on. So we got the Three of Pentacles and then the Five of Wands. Like I said, and I was referencing this to the Divine Feminine. And when I was looking up at this card, all she can really contribute is these arguments and stuff. But it looks like there's a lot of arguments and contradiction and like wanting to be better than others, wanting to get out of the rut. It just looks like the third party here is really not the issue. This is like really just like a decoy. I think maybe if he's working under wraps, this is what he'll let everyone believe is going on. I think this is what you believe is even going on as well, Divine Feminine, that is just like a bunch of crap, but really he's making decisions in love, just like the Divine Feminine is. And you're both headed the same direction, and I want to say the right direction. You're both headed in the right direction, you know, because it's like if you were doing if you were really trying to, you know, deny this journey, you would be able to see that very clearly. And you know, get a personal reading if you need to know what that looks like. But I really want, you know, you guys to try to get as much as you can from the general reading, although that could be almost physically impossible, because if I didn't say it, it doesn't apply. All right. This 3 and 3, I don't believe has anything to do with a third party. I think it's more about the love. You know, if you look up the spiritual number, especially the 6, you know, it's in love. And like I said, I think he's really doing things in love. I think the Divine Masculine and the Divine Feminine are both defining what love is, has been, and should be, then will be once they've gotten there. I think that's what they're both doing, and they're given these tasks and challenges right now that I think they really feel like they're just having the time of their life, or they're up in the air. Maybe it'll only last a moment, but this is where you're going to last a lifetime. So make your choices wisely. The Judgment came out for the 2 of Wands. I think the Divine Masculine is understanding that choices in love right now are very, very crucial. They're the ones that are going to last a lifetime. And he had this chance before, and it seemed like it was the one that was a lifetime, so he went with it, and still feels like this person, the karmic partner, is a lifetime. But it's more than clear today that it's not. And I do believe the third parties is putting themselves in like in a situation, in a scenario, maybe where they're traveling, maybe where they're hanging out, they're going to church, they're surrounding themselves around a lot of people to maybe get, it's like testing your science experiment really out and about now. You know, it's putting the vitamins out in the stores now, and really seeing what it looks like, maybe comparing other people's relationships and stuff like that, putting the knowledge that they've learned in the twin flame journey to use, and seeing how far it gets them. And they're noticing that it's getting them very far, and they're excelling in that, but only to a certain extent, only to a certain point, whereas they feel like they know they're going to need you. Okay, Divine Feminine. The 5 of Swords when I was saying the Divine Feminine, but the 5 of Swords is Gemini, Libra, Aquarius energy, and winning at all costs. So I feel like the Divine Feminine and very much the Divine Masculine, obviously. I meant the other way around. The Divine Masculine and very much the Divine Feminine are not dating. I don't feel like, for those who are single and stuff like that, but I don't feel like I said, you know, he's doing things out of love right now, and I do believe it. And I just think this has to do with those, if we're referencing to these 3s that don't matter, that don't involve in the equation. I really do feel that. Let's see what we got with the 5 of Swords, the 3 of Swords. You know, I think from what he's learned, also that the Divine Feminine has learned, go watch that video so you can understand that reference, is, it probably was part 1, but is these lessons, these downloads, and what he knows that's happened to him with this 3 of Swords is something he keeps very dear to him. Everyone else doesn't matter, okay? It's like he's already evaluated everything that matters right now in his life, and it's only those people who have been up until today. Even if you don't feel like you are in his life, Divine Feminine, you very much are. And I feel like anyone else who's trying to come get a piece of cake, a slice of cake, it's like, no. Okay, so you got to be sometimes, you know, you never see this card as a positive thing, but just like the Ten of Swords you look at as a positive, and the Tower card as a positive because there's only a way up. This can tell you a lot. With the Gemini, Libra, Aquarius card, the Swords, it's still communication, it's still knowledge and downloads, it's still very much knowledge. And it's like, I think in the twin flame journey, this doesn't just say that you were stabbed in the heart by 3 people. It's saying that you're putting to rest old ways. You know, like this heart is basically dead because how is it going to still pump? So it rejuvenates, right? So I feel like all the downloads and everything that he's learned about multiple people, if this is just the divine feminine, I mean, flatter me, why don't you? But no, this is multiple people. These are the people who have been in his life through everything, through the ups and through the downs, through the work, through the love, through everything. That right now it's like it's all coming in an understanding and a wrapping it up about what all of this really meant. Do you understand what all of this really meant? And this may not even include the divine feminine, but otherwise thinking about what's next, thinking about what else is going to come, how else is he going to conquer and survive. But he does want to meditate and he does want to relax, okay, because the Tower card, like I said. So, you know, understand that sometimes in order to get someone, you're going to have to, it's like the 5 of Cups, you know, you're going to have to understand why that was buried and dead in the hatchet, and then what you have for you. Okay, what's still there, what's left behind, not really, you know, how you're going to go achieve that without making it fall, without making it, you know, come to ruin. The King of Swords, more Gemini, Libra, Aquarius energy, putting on a businessman-like mindset and not being afraid to fall. Come in, you know, handy. So it means he makes the decision to go forth and to go and move forward, right? Takes that sword and is not afraid to whack down any weeds and trees and leeches and latches that try to latch onto him. That's not beneficial to his journey. I think divine feminines really need to understand that you have to have that faith. You just have to have the faith. You know, I don't know how much more to stress that in a general reading because I know you guys are all going through your own personal things. But with the 6 of Cups, you know, it's the battle for this. This is what's worth fighting for. And whether the divine feminine and the divine masculine feel like it's cliche and corny to fight for something that they want because they don't want to be alone anymore. Well, this doesn't look cliche to me. You know, it's not cliche, it's not corny. It's actually very powerful. I don't see any tools there. This is natural. This is just a natural love. Natural. And we're fighting, and we're all fighting to get there. That's the justice of it all. Okay, let's just end there because it just sounds like chit chat. But I really had nothing to say about the divine masculine. I feel like because I'm a divine feminine, I feel like the men will come when we're ready, right? It says here that the divine masculine isn't necessarily ready, but he's willing to get ready and become who he needs to be. I think the divine masculines, the ones that are in relationships, are the ones who are really suckers for love and didn't mind being in a relationship that was at least close to it, close to love, you know? We're not in relationships, and so we have to really understand that whole, if you want to call it the runner-chaser vibe. But I would say be as open as you possibly can. Open up, you know, because when this comes about and it multiplies into 10 of Cups, if it doesn't multiply with you, who is it multiplying with? And so just understand that. If we want to get an advice card for the divine masculine, so we got, there we go. So, yeah, basically, the High Priestess and the Knight of Swords. So, you know, never fear. Batmobile is here. Like, this is a kid. This is someone who may have childish visions, but they act upon it. Okay? This is someone who has ambition and determination that people are intimidated by, you know. People are kind of fearful, for sure. But this is someone who's going to get the job done. Okay, so if not to paint him as a perfect guy, so there you go. You know, we're showing a knight versus the high priestess. Now, don't flatter yourselves, divine feminines, if you're watching, because it's like, yeah, you're supposed to be this person, but I haven't seen this yet, and when it happens, neither did you. So, okay, it's a big task, and you're both working. I believe it. I think you're both working. I think you're both working. He's working.